Welcome to Birds of a Feather. This is your daily Baltimore sports podcast. This is episode 1 of this daily series. My name is Nathan Stroud. I'm a diehard Ravens fan. I'm a diehard Orioles fan. I'm a diehard Baltimore sports fan, and this is something that I've always wanted to do. I've always wanted to be able to start a podcast. I've always wanted to be able to start a show and just kind of discuss and express my opinions and reactions to the thing that I'm most passionate about, which is Baltimore sports. And I think we're going to have a lot of fun on this show. Baltimore sports is something very magical, and whether you're new to Baltimore sports and don't know much about it, or you've been a fan for a really long time, I think that you're going to enjoy the show a lot. It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope to educate and keep people up to date on what Baltimore sports is all about and what goes on throughout the seasons and off seasons of the Baltimore sports, because it really is something magical. Baltimore sports is very, very, very fun. They're at a point right now where both the Orioles and the Ravens are in such a good spot right now in terms of their teams and how everything's going, and it's some very exciting times in Baltimore, and I'm super excited for this show and for people to hear about, and I hope that you join me on this very long daily journey. I mean, we got a whole Ravens offseason to go through. We got the Ravens season obviously starting in September. We got Orioles opening day that happened today. We got 162 Orioles games and hopefully more because they'll make the playoffs. But this should be a lot of fun. I'm super excited for you guys to join me on this journey. And again, if you like everything that you're seeing, subscribe to the YouTube, follow on the Spotify, wherever you're listening on. I appreciate all the support. Again, appreciate all you guys. Very grateful to be in this position. And let's get it going. Opening day started off with a 12-2 win over the Toronto Blue Jays. Orioles start off 1-0, and I don't even know if you could ask for a better start to a season than a 10-run victory over the Toronto Blue Jays. I mean, this was an absolute slugfest for the Orioles. A very historical opening day for them. Two different parts of it being very historical. The one of them, in the team aspect, 6 total home runs hit by the Orioles. That is a franchise record for an opening day. The 2025 Baltimore Orioles hit the most home runs on an opening day in franchise history. That is amazing, that is spectacular, and that is something that I did not expect to see today. Obviously, the Orioles last season were known for hitting home runs. They were among the top of the league in terms of home runs hit, but this year, starting off the season, 6 team home runs hit. That is fantastic. 14 hits, 12 runs, 5 walks, a fantastic game. Lots of people got on base. It was an absolute nightmare for the Toronto Blue Jays, but an absolute dream for the Baltimore Orioles. And if we go through this lineup here, obviously the offense was the star of the show today. Start off with the hitting. The big guys that I want to talk about, Adley Rutschman, Tyler O'Neill, and Cedric Mullins. Those three guys had absolutely amazing games. Adley Rutschman, 3 for 5, 3 RBIs, 2 home runs. Tyler O'Neill, 3 for 3, 2 walks, a home run, 3 RBIs. You go look at Cedric Mullins, 3 for 5, 5 RBIs, 2 home runs. I mean, just a slugfest between those three guys. And someone that I want to talk about in particular, Tyler O'Neill. Going into this game, he was the most bet-on player to hit a home run for a very good reason. Tyler O'Neill, 5 years in a row going into this game. 5 years in a row, he has hit a home run on opening day, and he extends the streak to 6 years in a row, hits that 3-run home run in the 3rd inning. It was just a fantastic game for the Orioles. You couldn't ask for a better start to the season. Go look at some other people who might not have necessarily had great games. Colton Cowser, 0 for 3, didn't get a hit. Got a run, got a walk, got on base at least. Not a great game, but again, it is opening day. It is early. There's still a lot of time to improve. And Colton Cowser isn't always going to be leading off. It obviously is going to be Gunnar Henderson leading off, but he is injured right now, and we'll get more to that later. Jorge Mateo came into the game at the end, didn't even bat at all. Ryan O'Hearn got a hit, 1 for 5. Ryan Mountcastle went 1 for 5 with a hit. Ryan Mountcastle is usually the Toronto Blue Jays destroyer. If you go through his career and you look at his stats against Toronto, not only in Baltimore, but when he's playing in Toronto as well, the stats that he has against the Blue Jays are ridiculous. And he didn't have a great game, but he did get a hit, 1 for 5. Also had 2 strikeouts. Ramon Urias, 0 for 4. Got on base with the walk, but didn't have a great game. Jackson Holliday, Jackson Holiday was someone that I was really excited to see today. I wanted to see him start off the season on a great note. And, I mean, he went 1 for 5, got a hit. He also scored in a run. But 2 strikeouts, got a hit. Not great for Jackson Holiday. Again, this is, I think, one player that a lot of Orioles fans would love to see develop a lot this year. Because Jackson Holiday, again, is expected to be one of the future faces of this team, along with Adley, along with Gunnar. Gunnar, Adley, Jackson, those are the 3 guys leading us into the future. Jackson Holiday, again, not a horrible game. He did get a hit, got his first hit of the season at least. Unlike last year, whenever he got called up and it took a while for his first hit to come through, he got that hit off this. He already got the hit for the season. We're good. We're chilling. We're gonna keep moving forward. Jackson Holiday, I have very, very, very high hopes for. But now we'll go over to the pitching because the pitching was spectacular, and this is the big focal point of the Orioles offseason, was that their pitching wasn't going to be good enough to compete during the regular season. Zach Eflin, the opening day starter. Grayson Rodriguez, who got put on IL, he would have been the starter over him. Obviously, Kyle Bradish, who's recovering from Tommy John, he would have been the starter over him as well. Zach Eflin, opening day starter, those 6 innings, 2 runs, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. You would love to see those strikeout numbers go up a little bit, but still a very solid game for Zach. No one's going to complain about this game. He got in those 6 innings. He got his quality start. That's very, very hopeful to see from Zach. It's very, very encouraging to see because something that Orioles fans are really worried about this year is the starting pitching and if it's going to be able to hold up well. And Zach Eflin, first game of the year, gets a quality start. Can't complain about that. Anthony Dominguez and Keegan Aiken out of the bullpen did struggle a little bit. They didn't give up a run, but they did both walk 2 batters, so you'd love to see those walk numbers go down a little bit. And the bullpen is something that I'm not really worried about for the Orioles. The bullpen and the offense for the Orioles were going to be the 2 things that I wasn't worried about. It was really just the starting pitching, and Zach Eflin goes out. Again, a quality start. You love to see that from Zach. You love to see the start from the year. But something also that I want to see from the Orioles, which they didn't do great today, but it really didn't matter because they went out and scored 12 runs. They went 3 for 10 with runners in scoring position. Not a great showing in runners in scoring position. Obviously, if you followed Baltimore sports from last season, you would know that the Orioles last year very much struggled with runners in scoring position in the second half of the year. The second half Orioles from last season, it was an absolute nightmare to watch as a fan. And, it left a lot of us with a sour taste in our mouth. But to come out after what happened at the end of last year, to come out and do what they did today, 12 runs, 14 hits, I mean, it's fantastic. And I really couldn't have asked for a better start for the Orioles. Super, super happy with how they performed. Obviously, this is a long 162-game season. If you lose in opening day, everyone thinks that their season's over. If you win in opening day, you think that you're going to win the World Series. And that's not just how it is for baseball, but that's how it is with every single sport. And something that I'm super excited about with the Orioles is every single team in the MLB, they all have their different stories. Each team has their own stories. Each team has their own things that go on during the season. And much like the Mets of last season where, you have the OMG Mets and you have the Grimace and all that stuff like that. And there was a very big magic there. There was a lot of magic surrounding that team. They ended up going on a run in the playoffs, making it to the NLCS. The Orioles 2 years ago definitely had that magic and the best record in the American League. And, they got rocked in the playoffs because the experience just wasn't there. But this Orioles team has gone through 2 years now of losing in the playoffs. Not only losing in the playoffs, they've gotten swept the past 2 years in the playoffs. And they have that experience of losing. They know what it's like to be there. They know what it's like to lose. And, I mean, it really can't get any worse from here. This Orioles team is special. And this Orioles team was, and I was even saying it a long time ago, I was really excited to see this season. I feel like the season could have been very, just wacky and goofy and fun. Because, again, a lot of people were disappointed about what they did in free agency. They didn't go out and get an ace. They let Corbin Burns walk. They let Anthony Santander walk. Speaking of Anthony Santander, you see him on the other side here, 0 for 4, not a great game by Anthony Santander at all. But also, it was very weird seeing him on the other side, him being on the Orioles for so long and then, facing him on the other side. It was just weird. It hurt my heart a little bit. But the Orioles didn't have an amazing offseason as some people thought that it was great. Some people thought that it wasn't. I was kind of in the middle. At the beginning, I was very disappointed with what they were doing because I thought that they had the opportunity to go out and trade for really whoever that they wanted with all of their young prospects and Samuel Basallo and Kobe Mayo and Heston Kjerstad and all these guys that they could have traded for really any starting pitcher that they wanted, any ace that they wanted. And the one that I was thinking more specifically of was like a Dylan Cease or a Garrett Crochet or someone like that. But the Orioles did go and spend money. They actually spent some of the most money that they've spent in a long time. And one of the big contracts that we gave this offseason was to Tyler O'Neill, who, I mean, if he keeps playing like this, man, he is going to be special for this team. And Anthony Santander, obviously last season, 44 home runs, had a great year. But Tyler O'Neill has an opportunity to fill those shoes, and he might not fill them perfectly, but he might fill them just enough to be very effective. Other people that we gave contracts to were Charlie Morton and Tomoyuki Sagano. Tomoyuki Sagano, obviously, this is his first year playing in America. He played with the Japanese Baseball League, and he is a legend out there. Has a statue built outside of the team that he played for, the stadium of the team that he played for. And Charlie Morton, obviously, veteran guy, older player. We're catching him at the end of his career, which is fine. He can still go out there and eat innings for us, which is what he's going to be meant to do. But this pitching staff was the main thing that people were concerned about. And they didn't necessarily go out there and get an ace, but they did increase the depth of the starting pitching, which was something that was good. And it can be good down the line. Instead of maybe spending all your money on an ace, they decided to go with a route, expand the depth of their starting pitching, which it can work out. It can be fine. Maybe I was overreacting a lot at the beginning of the year. And I know it's just one game. I know there's still 161 more games left of this. And, we could go out and lose 10-0 tomorrow, and I'll go out here and pretty much take back everything I said. But I'm kind of in the middle of how the offseason went. I'm excited to see what Tomoyuki Sagano does. That's someone that I'm really excited to see. I'm excited to see his debut on Sunday. Charlie Morton's debut is going to be tomorrow. So, this is going to be really interesting, and I'm really, really, really excited to see how everything goes with this team because I think that they have the magic in them to go on that little spark. The playoffs are always about getting hot at the right time, much like March Madness. I mean, if you have players that can take over games, and if you can get hot at the right time, you will be good to go, and you can have a serious chance of things happening, a serious chance of going on that run. But the Orioles are in great shape right now. Obviously, they get a huge win today. They beat a division rival. Any day you beat a division rival is a good day. Orioles start off 1-0, and I mean, hey, these guys are going to keep playing ball. These guys are going to keep doing their thing. We're going to move along the season. Again, it's an 162-game season, and I am beyond excited to be a part of this journey and to make a show every single day, reacting to every single game. And the reaction for today is very positive. Obviously, a 10-run win for the Orioles. Great win. Can't ask for anything much better than that. Hopefully, they can carry this over till tomorrow. Tomorrow they play around 6, so the next episode will be out sometime tomorrow night. But I also want to shift over to the Ravens real quick because the Ravens also have a lot of stuff going on with them as well. I didn't want to make this episode all about the Orioles. I know obviously the Orioles are a big part of what's going on, but the Ravens obviously did make some moves. And for this being episode 1, I kind of wanted to highlight some of the moves that they made. They didn't make any crazy moves. Obviously, the biggest move that they made this offseason so far has been signing DeAndre Hopkins to that 1-year deal. And DeAndre Hopkins, I mean, if you watched his press conference, he was completely fine with being a wide receiver 3. And I saw a lot of Ravens fans and a lot of people being upset that we got him. They were kind of confused on why he's on our team and stuff like that. But for him to be a wide receiver 3, I can very much say that this is going to be an upgrade from Nelson Aguilar. No hate to Nelson Aguilar. I love Nelson Aguilar. Had some great years for us in Baltimore. But DeAndre Hopkins is wide receiver 3. I mean, I'll take that every single day of the week. You go down over to the defense, a move that they just made the other day. They got Chidobe Awuzie, big-time corner. A little bit, not as good as he was, but again, I think he can be a very solid veteran corner for us in a corner room that is very shaky a little bit. Obviously, Nate Wiggins, great. Marlon Humphrey, great. Marlon Humphrey also is kind of the veteran of that group, but I think adding another veteran into this group like Chidobe Awuzie is going to be great. We'll see what they do in the draft. And speaking of the draft, every single Monday I'm going to be doing mock drafts on here. Every single Monday I'm going to be doing mock drafts, not only really for the Ravens, but also just in general. I'm going to be trying to predict what the NFL draft is going to be. So mock draft Mondays every single Monday leading up until the draft in about a month, end of April. And yeah, I mean, I think the Ravens are in a good spot. Obviously, there's not too much to talk about with the roster of this team because, there wasn't a ton of players that left this team. The biggest free agent that we had was Ronnie Stanley, which we ended up bringing back on that big deal. And obviously, the DeAndre Hopkins signing is great. I think he can play a big role for us, especially in the end zone for Lamar. He can be someone that we can go to. But another player who's gotten a little bit of traction recently about possibly being dealt is Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews, there's been a lot of conversations about him being shipped. I've heard the Panthers as an option. I've heard maybe even the Patriots as an option. But as it stands right now, on March 27th, I do not think that Mark Andrews is going to get traded. I mean, we'll see how he's doing, and we'll see how the Ravens are doing by the trade deadline, where we can maybe ship him out. But I think that he's not going to get traded. But I also do think that every single Ravens fan can agree with me that Isaiah Likely is the future of this team in terms of tight end. In my opinion, I think Isaiah Likely is a better player than Mark Andrews is, and I think he has a brighter future, obviously, than he does. Mark Andrews isn't necessarily old at all, but he's still, him and Lamar, as Lamar said, they're like peanut butter and jelly. And speaking of Lamar Jackson, he does have a new backup quarterback. Cooper Rush got signed to that deal to Baltimore, which was really surprising because I did not think that we were going to go out and sign really one of the top backups in football. If you look throughout football and you look what Cooper Rush has done as a backup, he's one of the best backups in football. So if Lamar does have to, hopefully not, but if he does have to miss a couple games, I am still really confident in Cooper Rush. And what's interesting about it is they do play entirely different brands of football, and the play style of Lamar is a lot different from Cooper Rush. So we'll see how that works. At the end of the day, you give the rock to number 22 and you just let him do the work. There's a reason why they are third in betting odds to win the whole thing. I mean, this team is extremely talented, but again, the thing that they have to do to get over the hump is just not choke, and that's just what they do. That's just, at the end of the day, that's just what's going to happen, and we'll see what happens this season. I'm very, very, very hopeful for this year. I think eventually something's going to have to give, and, hopefully it's going to be this year. It's going to be this year. Couple more things before we end this first episode of Birds of a Feather. Again, I want to say thanks to everybody that's listening. This is something I've always wanted to do. I'm very grateful to be in this spot. I'm very grateful to be able to be doing this stuff. And again, if you like all this stuff, if you like what you're hearing, if you want to keep along with this journey and stay updated to everything Baltimore sports related, make sure to subscribe on YouTube and to follow on Spotify. Put notifications on so you know when the next episodes are coming out. Usually episodes are going to release at night because all the news is going to happen throughout the day. And then at night, I'm going to give my reactions, going to give insights, going to give some analysis on what's going on, and also just react to all the news that goes on and everything like that. Because in sports, there's a lot of news that happens. There's a lot of things that go on. Lots of cool moments, lots of cool events that happen. And even though, like in football, for example, the Ravens season is currently in the off season right now, we're still going to be discussing everything Baltimore Ravens related. Even in days that the Orioles aren't playing baseball, we're still going to discuss things Orioles related. Because again, there is stuff to always talk about when it comes to sports. And that's the beauty of it. And that's why I love it so much. It's like you're watching a movie. You go along. It's like a movie and a roller coaster. You get on a roller coaster. There's ups, there's downs, there's high moments, there's low moments. But at the end of the day, you stick with your team that you love. And it really is magical, and some amazing things can happen in sports. And I'm super excited to be doing this. I'm super excited to be talking about sports and to be talking about the teams that I love the most, which is the Ravens and the Orioles. And I hope that you guys enjoy this commentary and all this stuff like that. This is going to be an every single day thing. It's going to be something that I'm going to be able to commit to, something to be able to talk about, and I'm just beyond excited for it. But I want to once again thank you guys for joining and watching in on the first episode of Birds of a Feather. This is a daily show. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm super excited for it. That's going to be it for today's episode. Remember, this is a daily show. We'll be back at it again tomorrow after the game, and I hope to see you guys there. I'll catch you guys tomorrow.